Well, look, obviously he said a ton, Jenna. Let me boil it down to two things, his main points. Frank Vogel is not the problem with the Lakers, and Anthony Davis needs to play better. Yes, I agree. All right, he called Frank Vogel a terrific coach. I wouldn't go that far, and I do think that Tyronn Lue and Monty Williams, two guys that the Lakers considered hiring before Frank Vogel, I think they're better coaches than him. However, Vogel is a good coach, very good coach. He did a great job in Indiana. He couldn't win in Orlando, who has over the last decade. And then 2 years ago, he led the Lakers to the championship. All right, Frank Vogel was given the most volatile player in the league in Russell Westbrook. He was given the oldest roster in the league, as Charles so eloquently made clear. And his best player, LeBron James, has missed half the season. What are we talking about? Why are people panicking? All right? Be patient. All right? Frank Vogel is doing what he should be doing, which is experimenting with lineups, with rosters, or with rotations, with styles of play. And everything he's done is not defensible. And I know Nick will probably get to playing DeAndre Jordan, and I'm with Nick on that. You can question some things. But overall, the Lakers should not spend 1 ounce of energy thinking about getting rid of Frank Vogel right now. And Anthony Davis, Nick, I said it a week ago. He's got a number 1 game and the number 1 talent, but he's a number 2 player in terms of his approach and his demeanor-wise. And I need to see more aggressive play from him, if he's capable, every single night. Yep. That's what Charles is talking about.
So I agree with you about Anthony Davis, Broussard. But here's the thing about Vogel. Doesn't matter if you don't think he's the problem. Doesn't matter if Barkley doesn't think he's the problem. Doesn't matter if I don't think he's the problem. It matters if LeBron thinks he's the problem. And LeBron gave a little press conference. He was asked about Frank Vogel, and he said a bunch of stuff. You know, Frank's a strong-minded guy. He's got a great coaching staff. We're a team that doesn't mind some adversity. To the point where one of my favorite blogs, Nick, Silver Screen and Roll SB Nation, they didn't know what to make of it. We had one headline that says LeBron James offers defensive criticism aimed at Frank Vogel after Lakers' slow start. And then in the podcast, LeBron's comments don't feel very supportive. And here's why. They weren't. If you have to question whether or not they were supportive, that means they weren't. And I treat LeBron talking about coaches just like I talk to my wife when I say I love you. Anything other than I love you too coming back is cause for concern. LeBron could have very easily said, you know what? It's a fair question, and Frank has gotten a lot of criticism. Frank is my guy. Frank's not going anywhere. He could have pulled, Nick, the Mike Tomlin USC rant out of his back pocket.
But they would be.
Frank's my guy. He's
Frank's
not going
not
anywhere,
Jackson.
so stop asking. Little Nick Saban in there.
But wait a minute.
Stop asking.
Wait a minute.
He
Wait a
didn't.
minute.
So his seat is very high.
Of course. Yeah, okay, but hold on. Not only is Frank not Phil Jackson, he's also not Libby Wilde's Oscar winner extraordinaire and the wonderful mother and wife of Kevin Wildes. Love of your life. Like Wildes, this might be breaking news. You rightfully feel much more strongly about your wife than LeBron does about Frank Vogel. So you're asking him to lie. Now, he didn't crush Vogel, and because I also read Silver Screen and Roll, Anthony Irwin and company do a great job there. And they wrote in one of the pieces, when LeBron's out on a coach, he doesn't have to say it because you'll see it with his actions on the court. And by the way, historically, really only one coach LeBron has napalmed. Blatt, and he was correct. They fired Blatt, ended up winning the title. Everyone's like, oh, Ty Lue, you're going to go to Ty Lue. And now it turns out, Ty Lue, one of the 5 best coaches in basketball, and within a playoff series, maybe the very best coach in basketball. So he was right about that. Now, I know LeBron was tepid at best about Spoelstra early, but that also was 11 years ago at this point. And Spoelstra was an unproven commodity. Riley was correct, obviously, for sticking with Spo, who's turned into a great coach. I am not blaming all or even the majority of the Lakers' issues on Vogel. But there is this weird space where folks want to act as if any criticism of Vogel is unfair. Well, then what's the head coach there for? If a team is underachieving with some very odd lineup decisions and some very odd rotations, and yes, when it does take you 20 games to realize something that I and the entirety of basketball watchers, including Steve Nash, who no one exactly is comparing to Red Auerbach, realized a year ago, some realized 2 years ago, that DeAndre Jordan is fossilized, yeah, there's going to be some criticism. And so Broussard, I viewed LeBron's comments on Vogel as fair because they were neither too hot nor too cold. It was, I'm not going to add fuel to the fire. I'm not going to put it out either, though, because Vogel should feel pressure. Now, on Anthony Davis, Broussard, Anthony Davis last year was 21-7. That can't happen. This year, he is 24-10. And he is better than he was last year. And he is more so as the year has evolved, shooting fewer threes, which is probably because he's shooting 19% from three. And he's playing more minutes at center, as we all have demanded. So I also think it is, right now it is, because of his talent, Anthony Davis being the 10th best player in the world is underachieving, right? He needs to be in that top 7, top 6, maybe top 5, discussion with Steph, Durant, Giannis. I'm leaving somebody obvious out other than LeBron. My apologies. I'll think of him in a moment. And he needs to be in that sphere, in that echelon, and he hasn't played to that level. But I also think that some of the criticism of Anthony Davis by a guy like Barkley could be good for him. I think Barkley last year called him street clothes, and then the poor guy tried to play a playoff game with a torn groin. I think in direct response to Chuck, he's like, oh, you think I'm soft? I'll go out here on one leg. So I do think AD needs to be better. I do think LeBron needs to be more available, and I do think Vogel needs to be smarter with some obvious decisions. All of that is fair to me.
Yeah, and look, you hit it on the head, Nick, with LeBron's comments about Vogel. They were fair. And I think LeBron likes keeping heat on people. Wilds, he could have said what you asked him to say, and then Vogel would have been able to relax and all that, but that's not how LeBron works. Man. Look at all those teams he had in Cleveland his second go-round. He kept the fire on them. He doesn't mind it being uncomfortable in the locker room. He doesn't mind the head coach thinking, is LeBron got my back? He likes it. Keep you on edge. When he was in Cleveland, he only signed a 1-year deal every year just about, right? To keep their feet to the fire. David Griffin, don't relax. Go out here and get us the best roster you can. All right, Kevin Love, are you in? Are you out? Fit in, fit out, whatever. Keep Love uncomfortable. Okay, I gotta be at my best. LeBron does it. That's been his MO for years now, and I think that's what he was doing with Vogel. But you would know if he was out, and he's been in on Vogel the whole time. He hasn't championed him like, oh, this guy's an awesome coach, outstanding. We got the best guy for the job, all that. But he showed up for his opening press conference, right? Didn't say anything, but was there. That's support. When it comes to LeBron, that is support, and that's enough.
And more importantly, when they won the title, and LeBron did and I want my damn respect, he name-checked Frank as well. It was Pelinka, it was Frank, it was the organization, and then it was what most important. Right. No, but that's my point, Wilds. If he's out on a guy who just thinks he's along for the ride, he's not including him in it. So I don't think he's out on Vogel. Right. I just don't know, are you all the way in, all the way out? What about neither?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.